The door flew open and Aaron's father froze, eyes wide as he saw his son wrapped in Bentley's arms in a deep kiss that revealed everything. In that single frozen second, the life Aaron had carefully built to protect his family shattered, leaving him staring at the man who had raised him with nothing but disappointment and rage. Aaron pulled back first, heart hammering against his ribs like it wanted to escape. Bentley's hand lingered on his shoulder for half a heartbeat longer before dropping away, both of them turning toward the doorway where Mr. Thompson stood, briefcase still in hand, face draining of color. The suburban Chicago house that had always smelled of pot roast and Sunday football suddenly felt too small, the walls closing in with the weight of 27 years of secrets. Aaron opened his mouth, but nothing came out. What could he possibly say? "Dad, this isn't what it looks like." It was exactly what it looked like. "Get out, Mr. Thompson finally whispered, voice cracking like thin ice. He didn't yell. That was worse. Yelling Aaron could have handled. This quiet command cut deeper than any shout. Bentley stepped forward, calm as always, the high school history teacher who somehow stayed steady when the world spun. "Mr. Thompson, I think we should talk. Out of my house." The words landed like stones. Aaron watched his father's knuckles whiten around the briefcase handle, the same leather one he'd carried to the accounting firm every day since Aaron was in kindergarten. Behind him, the living room clock ticked louder than it ever had, counting down the end of the only version of himself his parents had ever known. Aaron's mother appeared at the top of the stairs, drawn by the sudden silence more than any noise. She took one look and her hand flew to her mouth. "Aaron? Who is this?" Her voice trembled with the same fear Aaron had carried since he was 14 and realized the way he looked at boys in gym class wasn't going away. Bentley introduced himself with quiet dignity, extending a hand that Mr. Thompson refused to shake. Aaron wanted to disappear into the beige carpet. Instead, he stood there, 27 years old, successful graphic designer with his own apartment downtown, yet suddenly reduced to a scared teenager again. The ultimatum came before anyone even sat down. "You will end this tonight, or you are no longer welcome in this family." The words hung in the air like smoke after a fire. Aaron glanced at Bentley, whose dark eyes held steady reassurance even as his jaw tightened. They had only been together 8 months, but those months had been the first time Aaron felt like he was breathing real air instead of the careful, measured breaths he took around his parents. Now that air was being sucked out of the room. He drove Bentley home in silence, the city lights of Chicago blurring past the car windows. Bentley reached over and squeezed his knee once, twice, then left his hand there. "We'll figure it out," he said softly. Aaron wanted to believe him. He really did. But the image of his father's face kept replaying, and something inside him twisted with guilt so sharp it hurt to inhale. Back in his apartment that night, Aaron sat on the edge of the bed staring at the photo on his nightstand, the 4 of them at his college graduation, all smiles and proud tears. He picked it up, thumb tracing his mother's face, and for the first time in years he let himself cry. Not loud sobs, just silent tears that burned tracks down his cheeks. The phone buzzed. His sister, Emily, texting. Dad called. What the hell is going on? Aaron didn't answer. He couldn't. Not yet. The next morning the text from his mother arrived. Family dinner Sunday. No discussion. Just come. Aaron stared at the screen until it went black. He knew what no discussion really meant. It meant pretend nothing happened. It meant shove Bentley back into the shadows where he'd lived for almost 3 decades. It meant choosing between the man he loved and the family that had given him everything except the freedom to be himself. Bentley called at lunch. "How are you holding up?" His voice was warm coffee on a cold day. Aaron leaned against the window of his downtown studio, watching the L train rattle past. "I don't know. They want me at dinner Sunday. Alone." The pause on the other end stretched. Then Bentley said the words Aaron both dreaded and needed. "Whatever you decide, I'm here." But Aaron, you deserve to be loved out loud. Sunday arrived too fast. Aaron drove the familiar route to Naperville with his stomach in knots. The house looked the same. Perfect lawn, American flag on the porch, his father's truck in the driveway. Inside, the tension was thick enough to taste. His mother had made his favorite pot roast, as if food could fix what words had broken. Emily kept shooting him worried glances across the table. His father barely spoke, cutting his meat with mechanical precision. Halfway through dessert, his father set down his fork. We've decided. You'll meet Sarah next weekend. Nice girl from church. Accountant like me. Aaron's fork clattered against his plate. Sarah. The blind date they'd been pushing for months. He opened his mouth to refuse, but the look in his father's eyes stopped him cold. The same look he'd given when Aaron was 10 and wanted to quit baseball. Disappointment layered with expectation. That night, Aaron drove straight to Bentley's apartment instead of home. He didn't knock, just used the key Bentley had given him 2 months ago. Bentley was grading papers at the kitchen table, glasses perched on his nose. One look at Aaron's face, and he stood, pulling him into a hug that felt like coming home. Tell me, he whispered into Aaron's hair. Aaron told him everything. The ultimatum. The dinner. Sarah. When he finished, Bentley held him tighter. I won't ask you to choose. But I won't hide either. Not anymore. Aaron pulled back, searching Bentley's face. In that moment, he realized the choice wasn't between family and love. It was between the version of himself they wanted and the one he was becoming. And for the first time, the second version didn't feel like a betrayal. It felt like breathing. Monday morning at the studio felt surreal. Aaron's fingers hovered over the keyboard, the logo project for a new coffee chain blurring in front of his eyes. Every few minutes his phone lit up with another message from his mother. Sarah's number is in your inbox. She's excited to meet you. He deleted them all without replying. Across the open-plan office, his best friend Mia caught his eye and raised an eyebrow. She'd known about Bentley for months, had been the first person he told after their third date. Now she wheeled her chair over. You look like you haven't slept since the Obama administration. Spill. He spilled in the break room over burnt coffee. Mia listened without interrupting, then hugged him so hard his ribs protested. Your dad's reaction sucks, but you're not a kid anymore. You get to live your life. Her words sounded simple, but they lodged somewhere deep. That afternoon he texted Bentley, dinner at my place? I'm cooking. The reply came instantly. Only if I bring dessert and we talk about Sunday. They talked until 2 in the morning. Bentley listened while Aaron paced, listing every reason he couldn't come out fully. His mother's heart condition, his father's reputation at church, the way Emily still idolized their perfect family image. Bentley didn't push. He simply said, I fell in love with the man who kisses me like the world might end tomorrow. I'll wait while you figure out how to be that man everywhere, not just here. The words settled over Aaron like a blanket, warm and terrifying. Tuesday brought the first real crack. His father called the studio landline, something he never did. Sarah canceled her shift at the hospital to meet you Friday. Don't embarrass me. Aaron hung up without answering. He stared at the phone for a long minute, then opened his laptop and started typing the email he'd been avoiding. Subject line, I need to tell you something important. He addressed it to both parents and hit send before he could overthink. The reply came faster than expected. His mother, we'll discuss this at dinner Friday. Bring Bentley if you must. The last sentence felt like a trap wrapped in olive branch. Aaron showed Bentley the message that night over takeout Thai. Bentley read it twice, then set the phone down. I'll go. But only if you're sure. Aaron wasn't sure of anything except that hiding was slowly killing him. Friday arrived with rain that matched his mood. They drove to Naperville together, Bentley's hand steady on Aaron's knee the whole way. When they walked through the door, the house smelled of lasagna, his mother's peace offering. His father didn't stand. Emily hugged Bentley like they'd known each other forever, which broke something loose in Aaron's chest. Dinner was painfully polite until dessert. Then his father cleared his throat. So, this is serious. Bentley answered before Aaron could. Yes, sir. I love your son. The room went still. Aaron watched his mother's eyes fill with tears. She quickly blinked away. His father stared at the tablecloth like it had personally offended him. Love, he repeated, tasting the word like spoiled milk. You think love excuses lying to your family for years? Aaron found his voice. I lied because I was scared you'd do exactly what you're doing right now. The words came out sharper than he intended. His father stood so fast the chair scraped. Then maybe you should leave until you remember who raised you. Emily started to protest, but Aaron was already reaching for Bentley's hand. They walked out into the rain without another word. In the car, Bentley didn't say, I told you so. He simply drove to a quiet overlook by the DuPage River and parked. They sat listening to rain drum on the roof until Aaron spoke. I think I just lost my family. Bentley turned, raindrops tracing paths down the window behind him. Or maybe you're finally finding yourself. The kiss they shared was soft, almost reverent, and for the first time Aaron didn't glance over his shoulder to check if anyone was watching. The next weeks blurred into a strange new rhythm. Aaron threw himself into work, winning a small local design award that should have felt like victory but landed hollow. His mother left voicemails he couldn't bring himself to delete. His sister texted daily memes and heart emojis, a silent show of support. Bentley was the constant, cooking dinner on Tuesdays, grading papers on the couch while Aaron sketched, reminding him to breathe when the guilt crept in at 3 a.m. One Saturday, Bentley surprised him with tickets to a Cubs game. They sat in the bleachers eating hot dogs and cheering like normal people, and Aaron realized this was what normal felt like when you stopped apologizing for it. On the way home, Bentley said quietly, "My parents didn't speak to me for 6 months after I came out. They came around. Yours might too." Aaron wanted to believe it. He really did. But belief felt dangerous when every unanswered call from his childhood home reminded him exactly how much was at stake. The misunderstanding started with a single text. Aaron's phone buzzed during a client meeting. Unknown number. "Hey, it's Sarah. Your mom gave me your number. Still up for coffee?" He stared at the screen so long his client asked if everything was okay. He deleted the message and didn't mention it to Bentley. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 came 3 days later when Bentley saw the same number pop up on Aaron's phone while they were making breakfast. "Who's Sarah?" The question was casual, but Aaron heard the undercurrent. He explained, "His mother's doing nothing more." Bentley nodded, but the easy smile he usually wore around Aaron dimmed just a fraction. "You could have told me." The crack widened when Aaron agreed to one coffee meeting with Sarah. Not because he wanted to, but because his mother had cried on the phone and said his father wasn't sleeping. Just talk to her. For me. Aaron met Sarah at a cafe in downtown Naperville on a Tuesday afternoon. She was kind, funny, and completely uninterested in him romantically. Turns out her own mother had pushed the setup too. They laughed about overbearing parents and parted as friends. Aaron felt lighter on the drive home. He should have told Bentley immediately. Instead, he waited until Friday, and by then Bentley had already heard a version from Emily, who had run into Sarah at church and assumed the worst. "You went on a date?" Bentley's voice stayed level, but his eyes betrayed the hurt. Aaron tried to explain, words tumbling over each other, but the damage was done. Bentley slept on the couch that night. The next morning, Aaron woke to an empty apartment and a note. "I need some space. Call when you're ready to be honest." The silence that followed felt louder than any argument. Aaron threw himself into work, designing until his eyes burned, but every sketch reminded him of Bentley's laugh, the way he pushed his glasses up when he was thinking. By Wednesday, he couldn't take it anymore. He drove to Bentley's school after last period and waited by the flagpole like a teenager. Bentley walked out with a group of students, saw Aaron, and stopped mid-sentence. They walked to the football field in silence. "I was scared," Aaron admitted when they reached the bleachers. "Scared that if I told you about Sarah you'd think I was still trying to be the son they want." Bentley sat down, elbows on knees. "I never asked you to be perfect, Aaron. I asked you to be mine." They talked until the field lights clicked on. Bentley forgave him, but the forgiveness came with a quiet condition: no more secrets, no matter how small. Aaron promised. That night they fell asleep tangled together, and Aaron dreamed of his father's face softening, of Sunday dinners where Bentley's laugh filled the dining room. The dream shattered 2 weeks later. Aaron's mother called at 2 a.m. "Your father had a heart attack. He's asking for you." The hospital smelled of antiseptic and fear. Aaron arrived to find his father pale against white sheets, monitors beeping steadily. His mother clutched his hand like a lifeline. "He kept saying your name." Aaron sat by the bed until morning. When his father finally woke, the first thing he said was, "I don't want to die with my son hating me." Aaron's throat closed. He told his father about Bentley, not the edited version, but the real one. How Bentley made him laugh on bad days. How he remembered Aaron took his coffee with 2 sugars. How loving him didn't mean loving his family less. His father listened without interrupting. When Aaron finished, the older man reached out a trembling hand. "I don't understand it. But I don't want to lose you either." It wasn't acceptance. Not yet. But it was a door cracking open. Aaron drove home at dawn feeling something he hadn't felt in months: hope. He found Bentley waiting on his doorstep with 2 coffees and a tired smile. Heard about your dad. Figured you might need this. Aaron took the coffee and pulled Bentley inside, kissing him right there in the hallway where anyone could see. The following Sunday, his mother invited them both to dinner. The table was set for 5. Emily brought her boyfriend. Conversation stayed surface level, but no one asked Aaron to leave. His father even passed Bentley the potatoes without being asked. Small things. Tiny steps. Aaron caught Bentley's eye across the table and saw the same cautious hope reflected back. But secrets have a way of resurfacing. 2 days later, Aaron received an email from an old college friend. Saw you and Bentley at the Cubs game. Cute. Your dad still thinks you're dating that girl from church? The casual question hit like a slap. Aaron realized his father's progress might be built on half-truths his mother had fed him. The thought made his stomach turn. That night, he told Bentley everything. They sat on the balcony watching city lights, and Bentley listened without judgment. You have to tell him the whole truth, he said finally. Even if it hurts. Aaron knew he was right. But the fear of losing the fragile bridge they'd just started building kept him awake until dawn. The major turning point arrived on a crisp October morning. Aaron stood in his father's hospital room again, this time for a follow-up appointment, and decided today was the day. His mother had stepped out for coffee. It was just the 2 of them. Aaron took a breath that felt too big for his lungs. Dad, I need you to hear this without walking away. He laid everything bare. The years of hiding, the nights he'd cried in college bathrooms, the way Bentley had become his safe place. He even showed his father a photo on his phone. Bentley laughing at the zoo last summer, Aaron's arm around his shoulders. His father stared at the picture for a long time. Then he handed the phone back and said the words Aaron had waited his whole life to hear. I don't like it. But I love you. We'll figure the rest out. Aaron cried right there in the sterile room. His father patted his shoulder awkwardly, the way he had when Aaron fell off his bike at age 7. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't the movie ending. But it was real. The celebration was short-lived. That same afternoon, Aaron's phone rang. His sister, voice shaking. Mom found your old journal. The one from high school. She's reading it right now, and she's not okay. Aaron raced to the house. He found his mother at the kitchen table, pages spread out like evidence. Tears streamed down her face. You wrote about wanting to die rather than disappoint us. How could we have missed this? The conversation that followed was the hardest of Aaron's life. His mother kept apologizing, over and over, blaming herself for every missed sign. His father sat beside her, silent but present. Bentley waited in the car, giving them space. When Aaron finally walked outside, Bentley took one look at his face and pulled him into the tightest hug. You did it, he whispered. You told the truth. But truth has consequences. The next week at church, someone whispered, gay, loud enough for Aaron's mother to hear. She came home in tears. His father confronted the gossip after service, defending his son with a fierceness that surprised everyone, including Aaron. Small-town rumors spread fast, but so did quiet acts of support. Emily's friends started inviting Bentley to game nights. Mia threw them a low-key couples dinner party. Life didn't magically become easy, but it became possible. Then came the betrayal that nearly broke everything. Aaron's college friend, the one who had emailed about the Cubs game, posted an old photo on social media. Aaron and Bentley at a party, arms around each other, clearly more than friends. The caption read, "Proud of my boys finally living their truth." The post went semi-viral in their circles. Aaron's father saw it at work. He called Aaron at midnight, voice tight with anger. You said you'd give me time. Instead, the whole town knows. Aaron drove over immediately. The argument was ugly. Accusations flew, broken promises, public humiliation, selfishness. Bentley tried to mediate over speakerphone, but only made it worse. When Aaron left that night, his father's last words echoed. Maybe you were right to hide. Bentley found Aaron sitting on the curb outside the house, head in hands. He didn't mean it, Bentley said softly. But Aaron wasn't sure. The next 3 days were radio silence from his parents. Emily texted updates. Dad's not sleeping again. Mom keeps rereading your journal. Aaron felt the old guilt rising like floodwater. On the 4th day, his mother showed up at his apartment unannounced. She looked smaller somehow. I was wrong, she said before he could speak. We both were. Hiding you hurt worse than knowing. She handed him a small box. Inside was the family Bible, a page marked where she'd written both their names in the front, Aaron and Bentley, under the family tree. Your father doesn't know I did this yet. But he will. That night the four of them, Aaron, Bentley, his parents, sat down for the first honest conversation in decades. Tears were shed. Apologies given. His father still struggled with the words, but he shook Bentley's hand and said, "Take care of my son." It wasn't everything. It was enough to start rebuilding on. The emotional climax built slowly, then crashed all at once. Thanksgiving was approaching, and Aaron's mother wanted a full family dinner, including Bentley. His father agreed, but the tension lingered like smoke. Aaron spent weeks designing the perfect invitation card on his computer, something simple yet meaningful. When he showed Bentley, the teacher smiled so wide it reached his eyes. We're really doing this. The week before the holiday, Aaron received a call from an old high school bully who had somehow found his number. Heard you turned gay. Your dad must be so proud. The words were meant to wound, and they did. Aaron hung up shaking. He didn't tell Bentley at first, but the anxiety leaked out in small ways, snapping over nothing, forgetting to eat. Bentley noticed. Of course he did. One night after a particularly rough day, Aaron broke down. What if they never really accept us? What if this dinner is just another test? Bentley held him through the sobs. Then we'll have each other. And that's not nothing. The simplicity of it grounded Aaron. He realized that every step forward had been his own choice, not his parents' permission. Thanksgiving morning dawned bright and cold. Aaron and Bentley arrived early to help cook. His father was carving the turkey when Aaron walked into the kitchen. Their eyes met, and for a moment neither spoke. Then his father said, "Bentley, you any good with mashed potatoes?" It was the first time he'd addressed him directly since the hospital. Bentley rolled up his sleeves and stepped in. Dinner was loud in the best way. Emily's boyfriend told terrible jokes. Aaron's mother kept refilling everyone's plates. Halfway through dessert, his father raised his glass. "To family," he said, voice rough. "All of it." Aaron felt tears prick his eyes. He reached under the table and found Bentley's hand. Later, when the dishes were done and everyone sat in the living room with coffee, Aaron's father cleared his throat. "I've been thinking. Church has a new support group for families like ours. Your mother and we signed up." The admission hung in the air like a gift. Aaron stood and hugged his father for the first time since he was a teenager. No words needed. That night, Bentley and Aaron drove back to the city under a sky full of stars. Bentley glanced over. "You okay?" Aaron laughed, the sound light and free. "I'm more than okay. I'm home." They pulled over on a quiet side street and kissed like the world was brand new. But life doesn't end at the happy moment. 2 days later, Aaron received a letter from his grandmother, his father's mother, who lived in Florida. She had heard everything through the family grapevine and wanted to meet Bentley. "I lost my brother to secrets in 1962, she wrote. "Don't lose each other to them." The letter cracked open another layer of family history Aaron had never known. His father read it that weekend and cried for the first time in front of Aaron. The healing wasn't linear. There were still awkward moments at church potlucks, still co-workers who raised eyebrows. But each time Aaron chose honesty, the world grew a little larger. Bentley proposed on Christmas Eve in the same park from the thumbnail image in Aaron's mind. Simple, under string lights, with snow falling softly. Aaron said yes before the question was even finished. The wedding was small, backyard in Naperville with fairy lights and folding chairs. Aaron's father walked him down the makeshift aisle. His mother cried through the entire ceremony. Emily was maid of honor. Mia caught the bouquet. When Bentley slipped the ring on Aaron's finger and whispered, "Forever starts now," Aaron felt every fractured piece of himself click into place. Life after the wedding settled into a rhythm that felt both ordinary and miraculous. Mornings with coffee and Bentley's sleepy smile. Evenings designing while Bentley graded papers. Sundays at his parents' house, where his father now asked Bentley about history class, and his mother baked extra pies, just in case. The family group chat included Bentley's name in every holiday plan. A year later, they bought a house with a backyard big enough for a dog, and maybe someday kids through whatever path felt right. Aaron's studio flourished. Bentley got promoted to department head. They still argued about whose turn it was to do laundry, still stole kisses in grocery store aisles just because they could. The scars from the early days remained, but they had become part of the story rather than the whole story. One crisp autumn afternoon, Aaron stood on their back porch watching Bentley play catch with their new rescue dog. His phone buzzed. His father, dinner at 6? Your mother made your favorite. Aaron smiled and typed back, we'll be there. Love you. The reply came instantly. Love you too, son. Both of you. Aaron slipped the phone into his pocket and walked out to join his husband. Bentley looked up, sunlight catching in his hair, and grinned that same grin that had started everything. What's got you smiling like that? Aaron pulled him close, dog barking happily around their legs. Just thinking how far we've come. Bentley kissed him softly. And how much farther we get to go. In the end, the family that once demanded Aaron choose had learned the hardest lesson of all. Love wasn't something to control. It was something to witness. And in witnessing Aaron and Bentley's love, they had found their own capacity for grace expanded in ways none of them had expected. True or false? Family traditions should always outweigh personal happiness.